I cannot believe it. I genuinely, I haven't had time to make this video soon enough. It's almost 24 hours after the game, and I still cannot believe what happened. It's insane. I don't even know where to start with this video. I guess we should start at the good part. Senegal are Afcon champions. Congratulations to all my Senegalese brothers out there. Fully deserved. I'm so happy for Senegal. I'll get into that later. Fantastic country, fantastic people. They truly deserve it. Their second Afcon, and so happy for King Sadio Mane, who etches himself into African folklore. I think he now goes into the top 5 African footballers of all time. With that performance last night, the tournament that he's had, picking up player of the tournament in the process, I mean, sensational. And congratulations to Senegal. Amidst all of the controversy that we're going to get into in this video, the main thing is, Senegal are Afcon champions, and that is absolutely huge, and I'm so happy for them. And they've got a fantastic generation of players. This is one of the best African sides we've ever seen. You know, a generation that's won 2 Afcons. It's spectacular, and they'll be looking to do something at the World Cup, obviously. But so happy for this country. And obviously, it came at the hands of Morocco. But let's just go through the game, because overall, I think, on the pitch, this is an incredible game of football. Finals are usually cagey, you know, usually uneventful, nothing really happens, it's decided by 1 goal, and that's usually how finals go. This final was decided by 1 goal, but it was a very good game of football from both sides. I was entertained. It was, both sets of sides had chances, you know, goalkeepers came up clutch. Something was always happening throughout the entire game, both on and off the pitch, of course. I think it was a really good final, like, based off of that, especially like the first 90 minutes, very, very good. And I think we were unlucky not to see a goal in those first 90 minutes, because I think it was really, really good. Then you get into injury time, right? The referee puts up +8. You've got 8 minutes left. It's 0-0. You know that now 1 goal will probably win you the tournament, which, guys, if you don't know how, if you're not African, and well, I'm not African, but if you don't know how much Afcon means, guys, this is everything for them. So, you could see it at the end. Like, nobody's going to be saying it's not a major tournament anymore. No more Jamie Carragher saying Afcon ain't a major tournament, because they proved how major it is, how much it means to everybody. And I love this tournament. This tournament was spectacular. But now let's get to the controversies, because I think this is what the game is all about, even though it should be about the fact that Senegal are spectacular, and honestly, glory to Senegal. 90+3. Senegal get a corner, swung in, it's headed off the post and into the back of the net. A perfectly legal goal. Referee blows the whistle before the ball goes in the net for a push on Hakimi. No idea how that was given as a foul, absolutely no idea. Both of them are like tugging each other, like they're grabbing each other. Hakimi falls over, referee blows the foul, he blows it early, so VAR cannot get back to it, which is specifically what referees are asked not to do with all of this VAR. Senegal are furious, and rightly so. I was furious because I wanted Senegal to win this final, mainly for Sadio Mane, and I just felt like they would deserve it. I'd like to see the upset, you know, the host nation get upset. I like to see it, right? Senegal get a perfectly legal goal, chalked off. Everybody's furious, right? But you're just like, well, VAR can't do anything because he blew the whistle too early, the idiot, right? You play on. Corner on the other side, right? It's headed out by Diouf, nothing, right? I'm just like, okay, right, 1 more minute and we go to extra time here. Then suddenly I see Brahim Diaz complaining, moaning like a little baby, right? It was insane. Then we see the replay, see what happened. See the fact that Diouf puts his hand on his shoulder, tugs him a little bit, Diaz falls down like he's been shot, and then gets up and starts complaining like crazy. It genuinely felt like Brahim Diaz convinced the referee to give the penalty. That's what it felt like. It felt like he manipulated the referee into giving the penalty, because I cannot believe that's a penalty. I genuinely cannot believe it. If that is a penalty, we'd be getting 5 penalties a game. That happens on every corner all the time. And you give that in the final minute of the final of the Afcon to win the Afcon. Are you serious? And rightly so, Senegal go crazy, right? They're not having it. They're obviously drama, right? The fans are kicking off, the players, the managers, and then the crazy part happens. Pape Thiaw orders his players to come off the pitch and go into the changing room, right? Loads of drama. It stalled for ages, chaos on the pitch. coaches, with the referee, everything got involved. Players walk off, right? Sadio Mane is the only one that stays on. And then Sadio Mane obviously calls them after a long time to, get back on and, finish the game properly. People are going to criticise Senegal for this. I know Pape Thiaw has already been handed some sort of suspension. Morocco are already complaining about it, which is so... Moroccans, I'm sorry. You'll get mad in the comments. You'll get mad at me. I do not care. I was absolutely disgusted by the actions of the referee, the Moroccans, everything. Well, I can't really blame this on... I can't blame this on the Moroccan fans at all. But the corruption behind the scenes. Because this is corruption. It is not a bad refereeing decision. That is not a bad refereeing decision. The first one, with the bloody corner chalked off Senegal goal, that's a bad decision, right? It's really poor refereeing from the ref. The second one is not a bad decision. That is simple, that is pure corruption. That is corruption at its finest. And Pape Thiaw, absolute legend. Because I know people are criticising this or whatever. No, he did the right thing by telling his players to leave. Because there was some sort of script, there was some sort of narrative saying Morocco was going to win this game. That was what it was supposed to be, right? That is what CAF had ordered or whatever. And Pape Thiaw and the Senegalese players said, we're not going to be part of the script. We would rather just boycott, it's not fair, raise the awareness of the situation and have things change behind the scenes, than just do nothing. Morocco take the penalty, they score it, and they win the Afcon like that. So, fair play to Pape Thiaw, because the courage it takes to do that, to literally, I've never seen that before. It is the most mental football game any of us have ever seen in our lives. I couldn't believe it. It was insane. But it was the right thing to do, because something needs to change. African football is spectacular. I love it. But off the pitch, all of this corruption, this refereeing nonsense, that's the reason why people don't think it can go up there with the Euros and all of that. But it absolutely can. I prefer the Afcon to the Euros. But things like this just drag it down. CAF let down the Afcon. They let down all of Africa with the corruption that was going on. Because Morocco were getting these decisions throughout the entire tournament. But they weren't as obvious, they weren't as clear-cut. This was a disgrace. I was screaming, right? I came into this game as a mild, I wanted Senegal to win. I left this game as a diehard Senegalese ultra. Because I genuinely couldn't believe what I was watching, and I felt so bad for my Senegalese brothers. Anyway, after all of that happens, Mane orders these players to come on the pitch. They eventually take the penalty. Brahim Diaz, you absolute donkey. Brahim Diaz, I'm speaking to you. Because I like Brahim Diaz throughout this tournament. But what you did there, the scumbaggery, you had a terrible game. Terrible game. Then you go down, diving, moaning and whinging like a little baby for a non-existent penalty. You get the penalty given, you step up to win your country their first Afcon in 50 years. I was praying, I was giving all the prayers that he misses that penalty, right? He steps up with one kick of the football to win his country their first tournament in 50 years in front of their home fans. He tries it. People are saying, did he miss it on purpose? That is now the talk of the town. Now, I can see the arguments for why people think he missed it on purpose. But I think that shows just how bad of a penalty it was. If people think you missed on purpose, that shows. Brahim Diaz did not miss on purpose. He was trying to embarrass Senegal even more. He wanted to seal it with a Panenka. He wanted to be famous. He was dreaming of those cold edits. The fame that he's got at this tournament is unlike anything he's ever been through before. And he thought, I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to get those cold edits. I'm going to embarrass Senegal even more. I'm going to be the king of Morocco. And then it backfires. Like that. One of the worst. That is the worst penalty I've ever seen in my life. Edouard Mendy catches it. And then now I can see the suspicions, because people are saying Senegalese players didn't even celebrate that much. But first of all, Edouard Mendy does celebrate. He catches it. He points to the sky immediately. He's thanking Allah or whatever. Probably, yeah. And all the Senegalese players, right, they were praying even before the penalty, right? I could see, they were down on their knees praying. And they didn't celebrate it, so maybe that's why people are now thinking he missed it on purpose. But I think that just shows you how bad of a penalty it was. And then that was it. The ref blew the full-time whistle, and the game went to extra time. Brahim Diaz bottled it completely. This is a bottle of the highest quality. This game will never be forgotten about. This game will be talked about for years to come. It is insane, all of the scenes that happened. But amidst all of that, that penalty will haunt Brahim Diaz forever, and I really hope it does, because I could not feel bad for the guy at all. I could not feel bad for him at all. right? Well, anyway, the game goes on. 93rd minute, in extra time. Brilliant play from Senegal. And a delicious strike into the top right corner by Papagay. I screamed like crazy. A sensational goal. Bunu had no chance. And just like that, when Senegal almost forfeited the game, Morocco had a penalty to win the tournament, Senegal were in front at the Afcon final. God had a plan, and that plan was for Senegal to win. And the stars aligned for them. Nobody could have written this script, but Senegal were in front. And Morocco then had half an hour to get back into the game. And Senegal were the better team throughout extra time. They were the better team. Sheriff and Ndiaye. Now, Bunu does really well to get a hand on that chance, but Sheriff and Ndiaye misses an open goal. That should have sealed the deal. And if Morocco had somehow won that, that would have haunted him just as much as the penalty haunted Brahim Diaz. Ibrahim Mbaye had a chance. Like, Senegal had chances. They could have scored even more in extra time. They were absolutely fantastic. They were the deserved winners. And the joy on those Senegalese players and fans when that final whistle blew, I was so happy for my Senegalese people. I was so happy. I celebrated that more than when Liverpool win a game, bro. Like, so much more, because justice was served. Football won last night. If Morocco had won that game in that fashion, it would have been the most disgraceful performance ever, by refereeing, by corruption, all of that, and it would have stained this entire Afcon. So I'm so happy it ended this way. I'm so happy. And honestly, I don't know, they're going to get some punishments now, which I don't think is fair at all. Because I think if anybody should get punishments, it's either the Moroccan FA or it's CAF or it's whoever is behind this corruption. Because it was an absolute disgrace. Senegal, Pape Thiaw, legend. I gained so much respect for that man. I had respect for him before. I think he's an excellent manager, but I love that guy to death. And Sadio Mane, what a player. What a man. What a legend of African football. Obviously, it was his last Afcon game. He's won 2 Afcons. I mean, what a man. And as a Liverpool fan, I felt so happy for him. Feel so happy for Senegal. They did this when everything was against them. And I cannot feel bad for Morocco one bit. I cannot feel bad for them one bit. And now after the game, they're trying to do this legal thing. They're trying to take it to court. The ones that should be taken to court are CAF and whoever's behind all of this. Not Senegal. Are you genuinely, like, what is, I cannot believe it. Then that whole thing with the towels, you know, how they were trying to steal Edouard Mendy's towels. Disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. Have some shame. I feel sorry for all my Moroccan fans because they didn't deserve any of this. But Senegal, long live the Lions of Teranga. Spectacular. It was still a fantastic Afcon. I enjoyed it so much. So happy that Senegal won. They absolutely deserved it. They were the best team at this tournament. They should be looking at a World Cup semi-final. That should be the aim this summer. They are that good. They're a spectacular team, but so should Morocco. They should be aiming for that as well. They need to bounce back from this because it's not a catastrophic failure that you didn't win this tournament, but it is a huge disappointment. In this manner, it's a catastrophic failure. In the way that it happened, it's a catastrophic failure. I don't think you sack Regragui. I don't think Regragui could have done anything differently, really. But Morocco really need to look at themselves and make changes ahead of the World Cup because they still have huge potential, but things need to change and they need to stop paying referees. But that's a wrap on Afcon. I will be making a few videos, hopefully breaking down certain teams after this tournament, and then it's all World Cup content until the summer, guys. So stay tuned for that. Like, share, subscribe. Senegal are Afcon champions once again. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys soon.